Alright, folks, and welcome back to the channel. We're back to discuss Sunday's game as Celtic head to Rugby Park. We're also going to be discussing the the stuff that's been on with the fans, to do it with the board, and obviously discuss the fan meeting that's took place, everything else. We've got a lot to cover because I've not actually done a video all week because I've been on the couch with the flu, to be honest, so couldn't actually bring it. So sorry about that. But I'm joined by Alistair to go over everything. How you doing, Alistair?
Good, thanks, Josh. Yourself?
It's been a bit of a bastard of a week. I started uni on the Monday. Had to get back into the routine and all that shit. And was pumped up with the flu on the Tuesday, so it's not exactly the most ideal of weeks, but it is. It is, but hopefully back on the mend the news. So if I do start nearly getting a fit of coughing halfway through it, you know why. But you know what? Carlos Alcaraz won the tennis, so we're all right.
Oh
But
my
no.
God. Welcome to the Wimbledon and Green.
Yes, the Wimbledon review. No, but Alistair, obviously we've got a lot to catch up on, which we'll obviously go through. We obviously got that game, obviously Celtic return as we head to Rugby Park on Sunday, and then also we've got that thing about the protest, and obviously the fan meeting. Alistair, obviously we did do a video discussing the meeting, or the statement, but they didn't actually manage to upload it. So what was your thoughts on that excuse of a statement, to be perfectly honest with you?
I'll be completely honest, I'm not going to mince my words here. It was 1,049 words of crap
Aye.
from start to finish. I mean, you want to be a journalist, Josh. If you ever write a piece as bad as that, hang up your pen, mate, honestly.
Aye. No, it was, I fully agree with you, it was 1,000 odd words of just absolute dribble. I honestly think some of that was put through a chat GPT or some sort of AI thing, mate, and I just would not put it past the board, because some of that shit in there was just, and I don't want to swear too much, but that's what it was. It was just shite. It was just absolute dribble. It was, I've all seen the statements. I'm not even going to waste our time. I've not got the energy to go through it either, to be perfectly honest with you. But it was just 1,000 words of blaming everybody but himself. They blame the media. Now, don't get me wrong, the media, or the Scottish or the mainstream media, have got their faults. But are they to blame for Celtic's inadequacies? Is UEFA to blame for Celtic's inadequacies when it was it's been clearly debunked, Alistair, about this whole
I'll be honest, Josh. The whole UEFA PSR thing is that was the fact that really got it to me. I'm like, you're just clearly lying. I mean, I don't often agree with the majority of the press, to be fair, but I'm going to say this. If there is well saying nothing, if that's the dribble, you're going to get served up.
Aye, no, definitely. For me, they've just made it worse. I think they've just made it worse. It's a PR disaster.
They put petrol in a gas fire.
No, aye, because
blew up.
aye, Alistair, they had the opportunity to come out there and go, you know what, right, we don't get right. I don't think a lot would have washed for the fans anyway, but they had the chance to go at that. Do you know what, we buggered up, we buggered up, we done a lot of things wrong. We fleeced these kind of as fans, we done a lot, we're planning to improve. It might have not really done anything to the fans. I don't think it would have been, but they could at least tried to go down that path. Instead, they just went down a path, a nameless and a signatureless statement where they just got that. This isn't your fault. This is the media's fault. This is the journalist's fault. This is UEFA's fault. This is basically your fault. It's none of your fault, so don't blame us. Give me your money and just shush. Because that was basically what it was. It was like, you shut up. This isn't your fault. Leave us alone.
Hey, Josh, I'm going to give your wee brother a shout out. It's like when your wee brother asks for something, what you going to give us? What you going to give us? What you going to give us? Give us. That's all we got to say. Like, geese this, geese that, buy this, buy that. I mean, every, I mean, yesterday they had the most revolting trackies at £85. Uh, just just no long before that, they released the packages for the Europa League, and you're just like, read the room.
That's been the issue. There's not been a lot of reading the room as such. It's been a complete disaster, really, to be honest with you, just in terms of the whole media thing. Obviously, then, Alistair, we've had this open letter from the Green Brigade, where obviously a lot of fan media signatures, a lot of supporters club signatures. So it was obviously interesting to see how that was going to be taken further. Obviously, we got the kind of survey that I think both of us have filled out, which, and then obviously we'll go into in a minute, just now. Actually, we'll speak about this meeting that took place Thursday night. I'm pretty sure it took place.
Yeah,
Aye,
I'm pretty happy to declare what I put, Josh,
aye.
if you want.
No, if you want, is it you talk about the survey?
Yeah, I'm
No,
pretty,
if you want to, go
I'm,
ahead.
well, a voting of confidence said yes to that. To remove Peter Lawwell, fuck yes. Um, um, to remove Michael Nicholson, yes. To remove Chris Mackay, that was the one I kind of spurred, because I don't particularly have any great feelings towards Chris Mackay, but um, but I think the other three need to go, and at the meeting which I was lucky enough to zoom into, because we're on the list. Anybody that looks at that list will tell. Um, there were a question as to why Dermot Desmond wasn't a questionnaire on that. Why is he not on that list? And my opinion is you've got to be realistic. Dermot Desmond, whether you like it or no, he's not going anywhere.
No, it's still.
You've got
Obviously,
to be
I'll see.
realistic.
No, you're going to have to be honest. I'm going to ask you a few questions about obviously the meeting because I couldn't attend it because I was, quite frankly, ill. I did plan on trying to go. I was planning on going to Gracie's for the actual meeting, but then obviously we were able to dial in via Zoom, which I thankfully did. Um, what was your positives from the meeting? Because looking on the face of it and talking and hearing from other, podcasters, fan media, like people, whatever, they were talking a lot about how it was just good to have always kind of in the one room instead of obviously talking about it on the internet because places like Twitter and that you get such a contrast in opinions, and it was just good to have a kind of democratic was the key word, just to have a democratic discussion. Obviously, what's been going on.
The positive for me, I mean, Josh, I'm old enough to remember the last time we tried to get a board to it. And the reason I bring this up, back then it wasn't as united. Honest to God, I've never seen the Celtic fans more united about a cause in my life. Now,
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, you've been a season ticket holder how long, Josh?
Um, which season did Brendan Rodgers leave? The first time.
28,
So since
28,
that season.
right? So the reason I ask that is because that I have never seen the Celtic. I'm not going to say the Celtic family because that's a cliche. But I've never seen all, all the fans go, and more to the point, association, the affiliation, the Irish Celtic Supporters Club, all going against the board, or the ones that were invited to a meeting with Michael Nicholson. This is all on record, by the way, so I'm not telling tales out of school. And they all went a vote of no confidence. So that's how I know this is serious. Now, is it going to be a quick fix? No. And going to be people are going to have different ways to whether they want to boycott, whether they want to walk out early or walk in late. But it's up to each individual whether they don't want to buy pies or.
We'll go into that. We'll go into methods in a minute. But what my main question about other night was in terms of obviously the meeting and whatever else. What was for you the biggest thing that came from that meeting? Because I think it's important to obviously the unity.
The unity for me.
You know, was it just because there was, you know, a lot of people in the same room or online or whatever you want to call it, who were, you know, go at the same cause and probably have different opinions on how how you can achieve that cause of obviously ultimately getting change at the top of the club, because that's for me what needs to happen. And I think it's for a lot of fans at the club, that's what needs to happen as well. Is it because of that? And was it just good to see so many, you know, fans trying to, you know, have different opinions, but everybody kind of respecting that opinion, but obviously ultimately having the same goal?
I won't say this. They won a consensus, but what they won a consensus on was the guys basically saying this needs to be the start of something. It can't just be a couple of meetings, a couple of protests, and we won 5-6 games in a row and disappear. But I get the feeling, Josh, that the room people are digging in for a long fight.
Aye. No.
That's the feeling I got.
No. Obviously, it's good to obviously we'll go to obviously in a minute the what people can, because obviously we already agreed, you know, early, you know, walk-ins and whatever else and protests or whatever. This was obviously the results of the survey that we spoke about earlier on that was brought out, which was, by the way, took home over 38,000 supporters, which is just that just shows you, I think, the scale and how big kind of fans at the moment are, you know, wanting change at this football club. So well done to everybody who dinged into this survey, because that is an incredible amount of numbers. And another people who I'm going to give a lot of credit for is the Green Brigade, because they get a really bad rep when it comes to sort of thing, like sort of, what do you call it, like try to do things and how they're just entitled wee neds. They're a smart group of supporters, and they're the reason. They're part of the reason why something like this is going to start. So they've obviously got over 38,000 responses. I'm actually just going to take the title away so I can read the second half of it out as well. Obviously, it spoke about things about boycotts and what the potential objectives of all this. Do you endorse a vote of no confidence in the Celtic board? 99.4% of those 38,000 responses or whatever, or 38,832 responses to be exact, said yes. I'm going to be honest, I think 0.6% probably going to be Rangers fans or somebody like that, because I don't see why that shouldn't be 100%. Would you endorse the call?
Yeah, Robert might have done the survey, you never know.
Well, maybe. Would you endorse a call for removal for Michael Nicholson? 99.3% said yes. Chris Mackay, 98.5% said yes. Peter Lawwell, 98.8% said yes. Would you endorse a call for an implement of a fan advisory board. I think that's the most important of all the questions here. 99.5% says yes. Would you endorse an idea of a democratic Celtic fan body? 99.5%. Potential actions: would you endorse a call to withdraw from the Home Cup ticket scheme? 93.9%. Would you endorse a boycott for the Europa League fixtures? 92.2%. And would you hang with a boycott for all for all Celtic product except tickets? 97.5%. So I mean, Alistair, that is pretty damning stuff. Pretty damning stuff there, and it shows where the fans, are
especially
really
with
at this moment.
7K.
So it just shows where the fans are at the moment, and I just think it shows where supporters are at the moment. It's enough's enough, and I'm going to go into this before we obviously move on to the Kilmarnock preview. I think it's brilliant that we've took that kind of first step in trying to get fans together, because when I've been a supporter, right, and I didn't see the 90s as some people who like to tell us that, that's the first time I've actually seen fan groups come together and ask for some sort of change at the club. We're not asking for Dermot Desmond to be removed, because we're realistic. That's not going to happen. But what we're asking is people like Michael Nicholson, Peter Lawler, who don't do their job.
The executive committee to be moved.
Who don't do their job, they should be removed. Like any other profession, like me who wants to be a journalist, if I don't write a decent enough piece, I should be removed in my job. Anybody, doctors, whatever, you should be removed. That's how the world works.
Accountability.
But it just seems that Celtic live in this other world, and that's the problem right there. But it was obviously good to see everybody kind of put in the one room and kind of been able to discuss things. And I think the other thing important, Alistair, obviously if people, want to go to the Europa League games, or people want to, not boycott the Home Cup ticket scheme, or want to do whatever, at the end of the day, and I think this is what most level-headed supporters are saying, is that that's fine. That is your personal opinion to do that. It's not up to somebody else to tell me, oh well, I'm hanging more, I'm gonna more against the board than you are because I'm not buying tickets. At the end of the day, that's your personal opinion or personal prerogative.
Can I be completely honest, mate? That is the attitude of that is excuse the language here, that is a prick attitude to have. It really is, because Celtic means so much to many people in so different ways. I don't tell you how to support Celtic. You don't tell me how to support Celtic. So let people, what Celtic means to me will be different. What Celtic means to you, it's going to be different. We're all different individuals. If you want to do that, do it. If you don't, do it another way.
Aye.
Like, for example, where we sit, Josh, a walkout, for example, for me is going to be kind of terrible today, because we need to go up and do norths.
Aye.
So it'd be no feasible for us.
Aye, by the way, this is not us trying to stack up for the ball and saying, "Oh, I want as many protests and many proactive, movements as possible." But everybody will, add to it in their own ways. Like Alistair's gone on Sunday; he'll be doing what we're going to talk about, the 12-minute kind of protest thing. So everybody will, I think, will add to this, and I think that's important. I think it's obviously important to have a clear vision of what we want in terms of, and that's change at the top of Celtic Football Club in terms of on the boardroom. But I think it's also very important to respect people's opinion, and respect, people's if they don't want to protest or they don't want to do walkouts, that is perfectly fine. But it still doesn't mean they don't want change at the club. As Alice was saying, they might just be limited to what they can do because of other things, other outstanding, factors and outstanding things. So I think it's no matter as well when you're looking at because we both want to change at the club, but I think it's also important that you look at it with kind of a respective mind and go, right, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I might not agree with it, but that's fine. Alistair, what has came out, obviously, we spoke about it earlier, just a second ago there, was obviously the what do you call it, the walkout from which the Green Brigade have put together ahead of their game at Rugby Park. Just obviously speaking about about this Sunday's match against Kilmarnock, and it means it will they'll urging fans to enter the stadium on the 12 minute. About obviously talking about the open letter there again as a collective of fans. We wish no deterrent to the team, but we believe necessary steps must be taken to demonstrate our discontent and remind the board that football is nothing without the fans. And then just speaks then about obviously once that 12 minutes is over, they'll go back into the stadium and continue the backing of the team. Alistair, what's your thoughts on this? Because I think, people might turn and go, I say, what's that going to do? But what I would say, it's a start.
Yeah, I mean, that was the consensus, Josh, at the meeting. We're going to have to do something at the very first. People need to realise it's the first win, it's the first game we've had since the window shut. So we were always going to do something in that game. And personally, I think they're well entitled to do this. I think you start with us and then it gradually goes up. And I don't mean violence. I wouldn't endorse that.
Oh, of course not.
But what I mean is we need to show the board that this is serious, because I mean, I don't know about you, Josh. I don't want to be waiting till the club's on its knees before doing something about it. If I can help, whether that be letting my feelings known on here, thanks for the platform, by the way, and posting retweets on Twitter or sharing emails, I'll do my bit, because I love this club as we all do.
Aye. No, I don't think it's necessary. I think it's completely necessary, and obviously, I hope it's obviously the start of protest. It'll be interesting to see what happens in 2 weeks when we play Hibs at home, because I think there will be some.
I'm looking forward to that, because I think that'll be. I think the board will be quite. I don't think Rugby Park will bother them, quite frankly. But I think when it comes to the home games, I think that'll bother them, Josh.
No, I'll be interested to see if they've got anything up their sleeve. I think they might have something, obviously, because I think it's obviously a home game. And obviously, if they can, then more volume of fans can take part in whatever the protest or whatever the thing is.
I'm for the banner, probably.
I think it needs to. I don't think banners are going to do it in this time. I think people need to do something that's going to look, because I've had banners in the past and it's a poster or something else. At the end of the day, I don't think that's going to do it. I think it's going to have to be, you're going to need to see gaps in the stadium where there's just nobody sitting at seats. I think that's the way they're going to look at and go, right, we need to do something here. Even that, I would be very doubtful, but with this current board, but it's very necessary. And people are saying, supporting the players. It's 12 minutes. I'm pretty sure for that 80, 75 odd minutes, when we get back in there, they'll be supporting the team.
Funny enough, sorry to go back to the meeting, Josh, but this is relevant. One of the contributors on the floor said games are very rarely won in the first 12 minutes,
No,
but
exactly.
for the last 7 to 8, and let's be honest, it'll be longer than 7 to 8 with stoppage time these days. But the thing is, it's 12 minutes, and when we do get in the stadium, we need to be ferocious in support of the players. We'll probably inspire the players, Josh, when we come in.
I don't know. I don't know. But we'll move on to the actual action on the park because also we've got a lot to discuss with that as well. We've been on for quite a while, so obviously up against Kilmarnock at Rugby Park, and obviously it's never an easy kind of outing. To be honest, go to Rugby Park, which obviously I thought's ahead of us because we're talking about this now we're in a crisis, not we are still sitting top of the league and and whatever else, and no conceding a goal, so it's not all bad. But which your thoughts obviously ahead of this one?
If you want me to be totally honest with you, just I've had that. There's been that much going on with the club. I've not really gave Kilmarnock a thought, and I don't want that to come across as arrogant. It's only Kilmarnock. No, it's just there's been that much shit, for another word, that I haven't really gave the game any thought, to be honest with you. But I'm wanting a reaction because we have had a reasonable start to the season, certainly points wise, Josh. And I'm hoping now that the window's shut that we can just head down, try and get as many points as we can over the next 3-4 months.
Aye, no, definitely. I mean, what I want to probably discuss, Brendan Rodgers done his wildly anticipated press conference today, but it didn't disappoint, to be honest with you. Basically confirmed, Dyson Maida wanted to leave. He knew about Dyson Maida wanting to leave as far as February last year, which is another video in itself. I'm not going to get into it, but just yet again highlights the complete incompetence of this club to actually forward plan for anything. But the most interesting thing was how he basically called the board cowards. Called the board cowards and called
a board member cowards. We don't know who it is. But
no, I'm going to say he called the board cowards. I genuinely think that was him given his opportunity there to go at these board members are cowards. I think that is. I think how deep down that's what he thinks. But obviously he's not been able to voice that. But now he has been given because obviously the whole leak stuff. Going to play a clip which obviously comes from Clyde One, which was from the press conference today, which obviously basically spoke about everything today with Brendan Rodgers and obviously that leak at the club. That obviously this is obviously to do with that article that was leaked last week.
Last Saturday morning, yeah.
So here it is.
It's interesting when I was showing that. My honest take, I thought it was a cowardly action by whoever it is. It's not something that you would want. And certainly my relationships with the guys that I am close with here within the board, then I would struggle to understand the why. Because like I said, since I've come back in 2016, I came here first and then done my second stint. All I've tried to do is drive the club forward. Was I surprised?
I actually applied this week because
not really. I think I was briefed upon the first time I was here when I left.
The fact, right, I'm not going to play the whole 2-minute clip because it's no mines and it don't really need to be played. But the fact that he is sitting there and has just admitted that he's called Kerbald and basically told him that you have to resign and whatever else. Then basically said he's not surprised. I mean,
That's a red flag.
behind the scenes, this club is an absolute mess.
I mean, Josh, I know you said about that, but I listened to the majority of that press conference, and I'm going to call this out as I see it. I don't think Brendan Rodgers wants to leave. I think the board are going to force his hand.
He will leave. And I think he'll leave because there's people in charge of this club, which we've discussed for probably half an hour now, 20 minutes, who are just completely. They don't. They want it. Somebody else used that phrase, and
Dinosaurs, mate.
it's they're a board who want to try and have kid on to play football manager. You know why? Sit there instead of.
When
But the problem,
the digital leader, but we're run by an analog board.
but no, I know, but it's just more damning evidence of why there needs to be a change at the top of this board. Because if your managers come out, your captains come out to face questions, on the subject, they must be sick of it. Where's your chief executive? Where's your chairman? What they done is they brought out a PR statement that was horrible, that wasn't signed by anyone in Chalad, and they think, oh no, we'll just let a captain and a manager go out and constantly answer these questions every week. Do you think? And it's going to be week after week, because if these protests keep going and these fan actions keep going, the media are going to get wind of it, and it's going to keep asking. So why do you think it's fair to leave your captain and your manager out to dry like that? You clearly must think that. So. But Alistair, it was just completely damning thing, and I honestly think if we don't have Brendan Rodgers at this club, it's because he's masking.
Brendan Rodgers is holding us together.
Aye.
I'm going to, before they go into the combat, starting 11 and stuff, I'm going to say this on Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers, in my opinion, is the best hope this our club has of winning this league. I firmly believe that.
Well, he also did add, he said, this makes me even more further want to succeed, because people are basically leaking information that isn't true out the door. So, but in terms of obviously on the pitch for the starting 11, Alistair, obviously, we know what players have got in the door. If the quality is good enough, obviously, I don't think it is, but that's enough. There's no point even answering that question anymore. What would you do in terms of team selection? Ralston looks to be in a boots of. So what would you do then in terms of the team selection?
Well, Schmeichel's going to start. I would go, it's going to be Kobe Donovan, because you can't legislate for your two right backs getting injured. So it's going to be Kobe Donovan at right back, in my opinion.
Yes, you could. You could have brought another one in, but
how do you sell it to somebody? You're one of his third choice.
Well, no, Kobe Donovan was on the way out of Dundee and he called back. So I don't buy that anyway, but keep going.
So I actually think the Uruguayan guy Sarachi will play. I don't think they'll play.
It's nearly becoming an issue.
No, well, it says he's fine, but I don't think he'll play that.
But when do we start questioning when can he play full games? Because don't get me wrong, I knew we were getting in terms of unfit and whatever else. Not played a lot of games, but we're nearly a quarter of the season. He's not played 190-minute game.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying what I think he'll pick, Josh. And I think he'll play Sarachi at left back. And the centre halves will be Vickers and Scales. And I think he'll go. I actually think he might go. I think I actually might go. Forest, and but Balaquisha, and I think he'll go McGregor, Hatati, and I wouldn't be surprised at Engels again.
I'll give you mine quickly. Casper's Michael in goal. Donovan. I was going to say trusty, but that's just a pointless
Oh,
exercise.
he's a win.
Liam Skate, I would rather play Ross than trust in a moon boot than with Liam Skate, but anyway. To be fair, he was alright, Ibrox, to be fair, he held us together. Scales, Carter Vickers, Kieran Tierney, Callum McGregor. Tactics, I thought Negrin was awful at Ibrox, to be honest with you, man.
I didn't pick Negrin either.
Arma Engels, I think, will play. I actually did think he was as bad at Ibrox and I thought he was great either, but he wasn't as bad. Taneki, I want to see for the start. Quisha, I want to see just for the start because I'm going to put this as bluntly and respectfully as possible. James Forrest should be nowhere near a Celtic starting 11 again. Because when do we say enough's enough? The guy is too old. I mean, there's a point at Ibrox he was trying to run for a ball and he looked like he was honestly he was out of breath.
Could have go there and he stopped.
He was out of breath. It's done. He's too old, man. He's too old. You've brought in two wingers and Taneki and Baraquisha. You put them in. See what they made of.
You've got with that, Josh, is they're both left foot. They're both left-sided.
But that's the club's problem. You signed them. You signed them. You knew what you needed for the club. You needed a right winger. You needed a left winger. Now, if they come in and Sunday and they're both left-sided and that's their detriment and they don't play very well because of that, well, that's the club's fault. Because you said
but I think you'll Balaquisha.
Because if we are genuinely thinking that James Forrest and Yang the right hand side for the whole season, we're in serious trouble. We are in serious trouble.
I agree. And you need, I'm no doubt we'll get to the striker, Josh, but you've got to remember, Yang and Maeda were practically at the door. Especially
Yang, I feel really sorry for him. Don't rate him as a player whatsoever. But as a person, I feel in Maiden as well, for the service that Dyson Maiden's given this club, for him not to have his wish is just a shambles. Yeah. It really is. But I think Taneki and Baraquisha will start. I'd be really disappointed if they don't, because I just think that the other options on the right-hand side aren't good enough.
If they're technically good footballers, Josh, you should be able to start the...
At the end of the day, if they're both left-sided wingers and the club's brought them in, that's the club's fault. They knew what we needed, and it'll probably this really bad recruitment in summer will catch us up. It will because it will show. It will show up front. There's only one option, in my opinion, still in Dyson Maeda. Iniacho's been waste for 5 minutes.
He started Monday.
So obviously we'll probably see him
at best.
As the weeks become. Don't get me wrong, Iniacho, I hope he does the best and comes in and hits the ground running. But
if it was 2015, I'd be begging for Iniacho.
It's not even where he is at the moment, because I think a lot of that has been exaggerated in terms of weight and all that. I don't think people are making it that he's fucking 20 stone on it. Like, he's not that bad. But
no,
I'm even it's not even that disappointing. It's the fact I know this guy rejected his firm Middlesbrough in January and I'm expected to get excited. Nah,
Yeah,
no
I
place.
know.
But to end off, Alistair, also return to the score predictor, which
I should never go about that. Who
is
went
turning.
first the last time? Was it me or you?
I don't know.
I think it,
Well,
I think it was me who went
right,
first.
so do you want me to go first? Aye, because I think you went first for the Kyrat game, and then I done the Rangers. Yeah, I don't. I'll go first, right? 2-0.
I'm gonna go a comfortable 3-0. I think I think Rodgers will pass his mentality in, and I think you might
Well,
be
he's already
surprised
got his.
how well we play.
We didn't discuss this, but with the Kilmarnock player came out and said on Sky all day that Celtic
Yeah,
Celtic
that's
are
yeah,
wrong,
that's the
which
team
is
talk.
which he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Let's be honest, but it's quite funny to us slate the club and then somebody else says something and it's like, what are you saying that for? That's not true. But no,
I did think Josh was Kilmarnock aren't exactly setting up trees either.
I know,
I
but
did think that.
no, hopefully it is a comfortable one, and obviously you say hopefully maybe use a bit of siege
I
mentality.
know. And can I put a bonus one in? One of you boys will score.
Oh, that'd be even better. But no, hopefully it's a good one we're talking about after the
Hopefully
game.
after the 12th minute, I would like to see the goal.
Scored all the goals in it before the 12 minute. Oh, what's the point? But no, hopefully it's a good result and performance and we come away with 3 points and obviously keep that unbeaten record in the league at the moment because that's probably the one on the park. I remember the performances haven't been great. I think Rodgers is going to have a lot of thinking to do because he's not blameless and all this. There's still stuff when I look at and go at Rodgers. You need to maybe change a bit, but hopefully maybe that might come on Sunday and obviously a bit more fresh.
Kind of say that. It's just, I've got to take responsibility. The day he did say that. And I thought,
so and hopefully some fresh players kind of make some sort of difference. But I'm going to wrap it up there for that preview for Sunday's game. As I just said there, we'll be back on Sunday for post-match reaction. Hopefully talking about Celtic.
I've not been arrested.
Aye, obviously. Hopefully talking about a good Celtic performance and a good win and 3 points. Until then, we'll speak to you later. And hail.
Hail.